some of my favorites, like matcha green tea. I drink that almost every single day. There's arguments as to how much more antioxidants it has than green teas, but I would say it probably has at least 10 to 20 times more antioxidants than green tea. It's really antioxidant potent. Then there's green tea. There's reishi. Reishi is a medicinal mushroom. It's an immune modulator. It's an adaptogen. I use reishi tonics at night, and that's because there's research that shows that reishi can actually help decrease the amount of time it takes to get to sleep and increase deep sleep. And I've used it to help me regulate my sleep when I travel, and it works really well. And then there's yerba mate, which is a really amazing coffee substitute. It is bitter, but it does everything that coffee does, but kind of is the opposite of coffee. Coffee is acidic. Yerba mate is alkalizing. It also has minerals in it, magnesium, potassium, I think even a little bit of iron and manganese. And yerba mate is also, it has kind of like adaptogenic qualities. So instead of getting that like caffeine jitter that people get from coffee, yerba mate is actually usually pretty steady, which is kind of cool. Then we have powdered arca bark tea, another good bitter tea. I also use it for getting rid of candida, sage tea, black seed oil, moringa bitters, herbal bitters. There's so many different types of bitter concoctions you can take that are like a combination of herbs, etc. What I will say as a general disclaimer is if you are taking medication, you want to be careful with anything that is on the herb side and make sure that you actually work with your health practitioner and make sure that it's not going to negatively interact. But generally speaking, most bitter foods can be eaten without a problem because most of them are vegetables. Most of them are vegetables or fruits, and you can figure it out, and it'll be really easy to incorporate in your diet. So I'll leave you with this place to start. You got two options. One gets you extra credit, and the other one's kind of like, okay, cool. So the first one is you could either do one bitter tonic in the morning or the evening, or you can do 1 to 2 meals in your day. You can just add some bitter foods. And if you want extra credit, you do both. So you do one bitter tonic in the morning or evening, and you add at least to at least 2 meals a day, you add bitter foods. And if you want to get the handout that has the really long list of all the bitter foods and tonics, that is the link. And Dr. Montgomery, if you can put up the link somehow, that would be cool. And that way I can sign out of this thing.
I'll put that link. I'll tell you what, let me do this. Let me type this in the chat.
Okay.
Hold on. And what I'll do is I'll also put it in the and I have your PowerPoint. I should just go ahead and copy it from there. Hold on one second. Let me do that so I don't have to rely on my typos.
Okay.
I'm gonna copy this, paste it in the. Now there was a great question that just came up. Let me get to that in just a minute. Related to okay, the link is in the chat, and I'll also place that link in the show notes after I'm done, or edit the show notes that has a link. Now there was a question regarding. Okay, yeah. So D part 1240, great question tonight. Will consuming bitter foods with dressings and sauces to make them more palatable reduce their effectiveness and benefits? So I would imagine that she may have bitter greens, but she may be adding sauces or dressing that may be a little bit sweet to counter the bitter. So does that take away the effect of the bitter? I mean, I had a similar question because when I drink my bitter tea, I don't add sugar to the tea, but I may eat dates while I'm drinking the tea.
Comedy.
So it's the same question. So I guess you can help us out. And hopefully you'll tell us it's okay.
I will say that it is way better for you to leave the dates alone while you're drinking your bitter tea, or to leave the whole point of it is to at least have some point in your day where you grin and bear it. You just deal with it. You got to eat it bitter to get the full benefits. And that is the part that changes your sugar cravings. But if you're constantly sort of like mediating between the two, I don't think it's going to give you as much.
Stimulate the whole process, right?
So bitter. In other words, bittersweet diplomacy doesn't work. In other words, okay.
No.
No, I understand, but no, that's a good point because I mean I do it with my tea. Like if I have salads, I mean salads is. I mean I'm okay with bitter greens and things like that because I don't know. I guess it has its place in salads. Tea, I'm indifferent. Sometimes I drink it without my eating dates, and sometimes I drink it with eating dates. But I think it's good to know, and I guess I like Deep Park will have to be more intentional with our solid bitter foods. Now, what I guess you did say that it's possible for someone to eat too much bitter, but is that pretty rare? Is that correct?
It's only if you're a Vata type. I see some of my clients in the comments. If I've told you you're a Vata, then you really you can calm down with the bitter foods. You don't have to go so crazy with it. But the Vatas, you'll know if you're a Vata. Vatas are usually really thin, have a really strong, high metabolism. They burn. They usually can't gain muscle very easily, and they are actually aggravated by it. Their constitution would be aggravated by way too much bitter foods. But everybody else has no excuse. So
Gotcha. A few other questions. Here's a question by Patricia Lachey. I used to take liquid Swedish bitters. Can you tell me why it seems to help with minimizing menstrual cramps? I mean, Swedish bitters? What are liquid Swedish bitters, first and foremost? Anybody know that?
I've seen them in the health food store and Whole Foods and stuff, and I don't remember what herbs are in there, but it's one of those. I was saying there's a whole bunch of like these bitter liquid supplement kind of things you could take. When I was living in Crown Heights, I used to take these ones I would get from Rastas, and they had all these different herbs in them. Why do they help with menstrual cramps? Well, I don't know. Maybe because it's the anti-inflammatory effects. I mean, there also might be some herbs in there that actually have nutrients that you need. A lot of people need magnesium, iron, B vitamins and stuff when they're on their period. Maybe there's some nutrient content in there that's actually just helping you. A lot of people when they're on their period actually do the opposite of what's going to make the period easier to deal with. So if you're eating a lot of sugar when you're on your period, you're actually going to increase your menstrual pain, increase all of your symptoms, all that stuff, because that's also going to affect your hormones. So the bitter would be the opposite. So that's probably why you start to feel a little bit better.
So one approach would be to get women who are having menstrual problems to consume more bitter foods.
Well, definitely more bitter foods, but I mean, so menstrual cramps, we could go into a whole session on it.
All right. Well, save that for another show.
But basically, a lot of women don't realize that heavy cramping and really horrific periods actually are a sign of estrogen dominance. And that's a whole thing on its own, because you really do have to change your diet and balance your hormones and fix that. Because that's not a simple problem. That's a serious problem.
All right, Dr. Atkins, we're going to get your microphone fixed. We've got a show for you. Hormone balancing. That's
hear me now?
This is great stuff. So in balance, I know you gave us the diet and what have you. And I think I need to look at my food prescription system and quantify, take the bitter aspect, or take those 5 flavors in the context of how we classify our foods. And when we're doing our detoxes, maybe we need to go more bitter with some of our sicker patients. Did you see any data showing that a more aggressive nutritional detox will have more bitter foods?
No, but I would guess that it would have more bitter foods. Were you going to say something, Dr. Atkins?
Yeah, I was going to say, just looking at your list, I noticed that a lot of the bitter foods and comments, again, goes back to the green foods, the moringas, the grass, and all of those are detoxifiers. Everything loaded with chlorine are going to be natural detoxifiers. So I think that would be a good option to definitely include in a detox program, using your greens, your moringa, your green powders, your green drinks, your wheatgrass, spirulina also. I guess the one question asked about the bitter when it's Swedish, while you were answering that question, I was researching it, but you were absolutely right. The inflammation and immunity were one or two main benefits of the Swedish bitters, along with just it being a good for digestion. It's a good digestive aid. And
Yeah.
also, I did the research on that. What's that? Iberoblast question.
Iberogast.
Yes.
Iberogast.
Yes. Did you look that up? But again, that was
Yes.
It's aid in digestion. People take it before meals to help digest food properly.
Is it an herb or what is it? Is it a green plant?
It's from an herb. Go ahead, Dr. Pam.
It's a combination. It's a combination. I think that's a brand name. I looked it up, but it are a combination of herbs, but that are helpful to digestion. So the combination I see, there may be more than one combination made by different companies. It's chamomile flowers, caraway, angelica, which is calming, milk thistle, which is good for the liver detoxification, and something called bitter candy tuft. I've never heard of that one, but I guess it's a combination that's helpful for bloating, digestive problems, IBS, etc. But that's a combination that may be a brand name or a known combination, but it's not one herb.
Gotcha. So basically a combination. Here's a question from, whoops, not the one I'm trying to get. The question from D Park, can wheatgrass shots count as bitter tonic? I would think so. Any comments on wheatgrass?
Yeah, for sure. Wheatgrass is super bitter. That's why everyone's always like trying to take a orange slice afterwards. Calm it down.
I'll do a shot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from Donna A, can we juice some of the bitter greens and drink it for the same benefits occasion as well as eating daily greens? So juicing bitter greens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we're gonna have to work on a juice feast to make our juices. When I would do my juice feast when I was first coached on it, I was coached to do at least one juice with all greens in it. And then the regular other juice to have greens plus fruit to kind of mix it to make it satisfying. Would the panel agree with that, or should I do two juices with all greens?
Sometimes it really depends on what someone can handle. Sometimes you have to meet people where they are. And if they really are just like literally holding their nose to try to get the all green in, I'm like, okay, put a little green apple in there.
Yeah.
To make it slightly more, you know what I mean? Palatable.
Yeah.
It actually matters that they get it down more. So then.
I remember once, well, actually it was my very first juice feast many years ago. And so the drug reps would come in and my staff said, look, he's not going to talk to you unless you go buy juice. So they had to go to like the central market store not far from us. And I would do one green juice and I would do like a apple beet and some other things. And so there was one rep, and I don't know if she was just trying to be smart or not, but she got four of the 32 ounces of all green juice. And I didn't want to waste it, but it was a bitter juice at the time. So I drank all of them all day. And so that whole day, that whole morning, I drank all those. I mean, I called it the green nasty. I gave it a nickname. Just to help me. But the interesting thing is that after I went through those four juices, those four green nasties, 32 ounces, I just kind of chugged them because I didn't want to sip it because it'd be more painful. But after a while, the juices, then my taste buds changed where then they would have a creamy, satisfying taste to them. It wasn't sweet, but it was sort of a creamy, smooth taste. And so I could identify that. And every time I drink that juice, it has that same creamy taste. And so it's interesting how my taste buds changed. That was very early on. So I guess doing more bitter shots can help out as well. This question you answered, are seaweeds considered bitter? Can you comment on the different types of seaweeds that may be better? Are there, I mean, I hear like, I know wakame is supposed to be pretty good, but kelp I hear is contaminated with stuff. I mean, anybody comment on seaweeds?
Yeah, I was just going to say you want to be careful where you get it from because our oceans are contaminated, but seaweed's an excellent source of minerals and iodine, but unfortunately because man has contaminated it, you want to try to find a more pristine source of it. That's my concern. What do you think, Esosa?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And especially because nowadays everything's so polluted. The other thing I was going to say is this seaweeds are interesting because I kind of put it on my list, but then I was like, they also could be considered salty, because a lot of times they're usually added salt to it, or they're just salty because they're from the ocean, right? So I like nori. Everyone's obsessed with Irish moss right now. And for its nutritional benefits and also other things that they've heard. And I do think Irish moss is useful. I like dulse. Dulse is also very salty. You can use dulse actually to even season a salad. There's wakame. There's so many types of seaweeds. I find that seaweeds are also just really helpful for people who don't have a nutrient dense diet and they need more nutrition in there. Just adding some seaweeds in, it's going to give you a lot more nutrition.
Wakame, can you comment on wakame for me briefly? And I'm going to bring up the next question.
What about it?
You like it or not? Or
yeah, I do.
Okay. Hibiscus tea, is that considered bitter? It's another question.
I don't really completely know. I think that it actually might be almost more on the sour side when it doesn't have sugar. But I'd have to look it up because from what I remember from hibiscus tea, it almost feels like it's, sour. But a lot of people put a lot of sugar in their tea, so don't put sugar in it because that won't make it a bitter.
Gotcha. This one, bitter foods in our children.
Yes. I'm so glad someone asked this question because I actually forgot something. And this is something I was talking to this woman about, who actually also wrote a book about bitter foods. And we were talking about how, in addition to our genetics, when a woman is pregnant, that child's taste preferences are being shaped as well by what the mother eats. So you can influence what your child is going to eat before they even get out of the womb by eating a wide variety of foods, including bitter foods. And it's actually helpful because then when they come out the womb and they were actually going to want to eat broccoli versus telling you no because you ate it while that you were pregnant with them. So that part I found really interesting too. So there's just so many levels where our tastes can be, but yes, for children, please have them consume more bitter foods. It will help them not be sugar addicted. It will help them balance out. It will help them continue to like eating these vegetables later in life as well.
I know, Dr. Palmer, you're going to be talking to us about the benefits of sleep on fairly soon, but can you make a note to talk to us about the diet of the pregnant woman as how do you feed the child in utero? I think that would be an interesting topic because it's going to be an important thing for us to sort of consider because, pregnant moms, I mean, we got to cut this thing off at the pass, if you will. And we know that we can diagnose atherosclerotic disease in utero. So, and kids at a very young age are getting atherosclerotic disease as well as other diseases. So, consuming foods in utero is really important. I know we're coming up on the hour. We're going to go, just to let our viewers know, we're going to go a little bit on the other side because there's some interesting questions coming up. And I also want to quiz Dr. Floyd on farming because he's our resident expert in growing food. We talked about this earlier, and I don't want to get on this, but will eating bitters help me sense my gallbladder? Here's a question about gallbladders and bitter foods. You did say the receptors in the gallbladder, but we didn't talk about the liver. Bitter foods and gallbladder. Any comments?
Well, they help you. The gallbladder produce bile when you don't have one. That would be, I think, a question for one of you docs.
Yeah, well, one thing about the gallbladder is that, the bitter foods, like you mentioned, Pau-d'Arco tea, which is an antifungal, antiviral, and it really works on funguses. So a lot of bacteria, mold, funguses, and virus will live and thrive in your gallbladder, and it can lead to, cholecystitis, inflamed gallbladder. So if you're using them, it could be beneficial as far as controlling that. So it will have a benefit, you know. But again, I want to stress, you know, I know we have to use bitters, but it seems like the audience wants to use that one bullet to use bitters to do everything, but bitters should be a part of your overall diet, like you're saying. So it's also that it can complement everything you're doing and not just be the answer to gallbladder disease or something.
So you're saying there's no bitter bullet? Is that what you're trying to say? Should we search for a better bitter bullet?
You need a machine gun, okay?
Machine gun, yeah. Now, speaking of bitter, real quick, Chaca piedra, now that we're on herbs, was an herb that was mentioned to me by one of my mentors a while back. It's supposed to be a liver cleanser. Is that a bitter herb also? Chaca piedra?
I don't even know what that is.
I'm familiar with it, but I'm not sure if it's in that category. I would have to check, but it's a wonderful herb that helps. It in Spanish, it means to break stone or break up kidney stones and gallstones. But it's a wonderful tea, and I would suspect it may be a bitter herb, but it is wonderful to make into the tea, and it helps flush and break up potential stones and sludge in the gallbladder in the urinary tract. So, but if there are symptoms of kidney stones, it's wonderful if you can flush and to.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Baxter Montgomery. Thanks for joining us this evening. I want to share information about our FoodRx Healthy Lifestyle Series. The FoodRx Healthy Lifestyle Series is a comprehensive health and wellness coaching program designed to help you navigate your lifestyle towards optimal health. Do you want to reverse or control a chronic illness, or reduce or eliminate medications? You may want to avoid potential surgeries or medical procedures, or perhaps boost your immune system or improve your fitness level, or much more. The program starts with an intense 5-session, 4-week virtual coaching jumpstart phase, where you join a group of like-minded individuals dedicated to improving their health. You'll be provided a lot of support materials, including nutrition plans, recipes, supplement plans as needed, or fitness plans, and much more. You have full-year access to the support materials as well as our health and wellness team during and at the completion of the 4-week jumpstart period. To learn more about this program, connect on one of our links below or schedule a call with our team members. Let them know if you wish to speak to me directly, and they'll arrange a time for you. Optimal health is a lifelong journey. Let us help you navigate it to your most desired destination.